2010 marked the centenary of the Pyrenees in the Tour de France. Not that the Pyrenees could probably have cared less, having been around for a fair bit longer. For the race, though, it was a milestone of immeasurable significance. Before 1910, the Tour was a hugely tiring but largely horizontal affair, a ground war between men of endless stamina. The moment the organisers decided to take it over the still unpaved passes of the high mountains, it became a different race altogether. And just as this year's organisers had planned it when they drew up the centenary route, the race still was a race as it entered the Pyrenees, albeit one that was down to two men. Stage 14 certainly had the requisite degree of difficulty for a proper showdown between Alberto Contador and Andy Schleck. A punishing ascent of the Port de Paillard, with only a steep plunge down the valley to recover before the final climb up to Axles-les-Trois-Domaines. Christophe Riblon, the lone survivor of an early break, looked like holding on to give the French their fourth stage win with a fabulous solo effort. Behind him, Schleck and Contador were in a select group containing the top 8 riders overall, minus Levi Leipheimer.
4 kilometres to go, and now is Contador and Schleck going to call it a draw on the first day in the Pyrenees? There are 3 more days to come.
3 more very difficult days to come, and in that group, all of the big boys we've talked about. Carlos Sastre, Phil, he wants to have another go. He knows that these guys are going to watch themselves very carefully, and he knows he's got a chance of getting himself the stage victory.
Well, our cameras are staying with the battle halfway down, but let's not forget to give that man up the road all of the credit he deserves today. Well, the fire of the moment has passed, and Levi Leipheimer has ridden himself almost back in. A big effort. He's with 2 riders there from Case Depon, including Sanchez.
It's now Joaquim Rodriguez on the front. Katusha, the winner, up to Mond. He's looking over his shoulder, and he's trying to shake a few riders out of this pack. And all of a sudden, he gets relayed there by Denis Menchov. This is probably the best Denis Menchov has been at the Tour de France, Phil, for the last couple of seasons.
Well, Cunego made his effort to get away. It didn't work out because of the way the riders raced each other. They've now caught him, and it looks like they might even drop him before the finish here, as they pick up Mouinard now, who nearly made it to the front. Now he's back in the chase.
That would mean there's only one man left in this race, and that is the man who leads it for France, Christophe Riblon. But this is where the big battle royale is. There's a move by Contador.
You could see them both grit their teeth at the same time, and again he was ready for it, Paul Schleck.
Well, Schleck was right on the wheel, and Alberto Contador, Phil, cannot open the gap on Andy Schleck. And I keep wondering, I wonder what it would have been like if Frank had been here. There's another one.
Well, this man is ready, though. He's just content to watch Contador. You've got to take your hat off to them both. They are racing each other for the final victory in the Tour. Those vicious accelerations have dispatched Sastre into the chase group.
Well, going back there, you can see there's Mouinard. This is Gesink. This is, in fact, Jürgen van den Broek and Rodriguez also now being put into difficulty by those violent accelerations. And I'm just remembering what Johan Bruneel always said about Alberto Contador.
Well, I think Sanchez has gone there. The camera's just caught him. Sanchez has just gone. But Menchov is going to bring back the top 2 riders now. Well, Sammy Sanchez is trying to get rid of the man just behind him. That is Denis Menchov. They are 3rd and 4th. The first 4 riders in the race, there they are.
Well, Contador must now be asking himself questions, but I was just about to say what Johan Bruneel said. Nobody can attack as many times as Alberto Contador on a climb.
It's a long time since we've seen a battle like this on a mountain between the top 4 riders this morning in the overall classification. They are riding the mountain towards the finish together.
Phil, look at this. I've never seen this. I've never seen this. They are actually doing a track stand on the slopes of this climb. Alberto Contador and Andy Schleck. Schleck says, mate, you want to beat me in the Tour de France? I'm going to ride behind you all the way to the top of this climb.
A minute 50. This is the leader and receiving the Spanish applause as well. And there's the American flag flying. There's the Irish flag on the right. They're all here to see the Tour de France. They might have even thought this was Nicolas Roche, but it's not. It's his teammate, Christophe Riblon. Now these 2 are going to go back and start fighting.
They have not been dropped.
This is amazing.
Phil. They have not been dropped from the group. They are just watching each other. This is a psychological battle that they're playing. It's a dangerous psychological battle, and I wonder what Alberto Contador is going to do. They are marking each other out of the Tour de France.
Well, they've got a bit of time to do that, but Contador has had enough by the look of it, and Andy Schleck is playing poker. He is just gambling. These boys are closing the gap on the top two riders in the Tour, and all of a sudden, Robert Gesing is now feeling good again.
Well, Gesing now sees the chance to move himself and, of course, his own teammate Denny Menchov a little bit further up. And this is really amazing what is happening here. And I tell you what, I'm not quite sure what sort of a game these two boys are playing here, but it's a very dangerous game that they've decided to take on, because allowing somebody like Denny Menchov, we had said over the last couple of days, Phil, the silent killer. Well, he really looks like he's going in for it at the moment.
But watch out.
Denny Menchov is being chased by Sammy Sanchez.
Through the crowd comes Samuel Sanchez, the Olympic champion. He's seeing his biggest dream fading here because he's off the wheel of Menchov. 14 seconds different at the line. We have a new man in third place tonight. What an incredible Tour de France this is really turning out to be. Let's not forget that Riblon is almost home, and our cameras are certain to show us that because he is French. But this is an incredible battle, and I do think that Sanchez might be clawing his way back. Will this finish ever come for this man who broke away and led over the top of the previous climb, the Paia? He's now almost at the summit of the climb before he gets a little bit of downhill and a chance to soak in the glory at the top of Axe Trois Domaines.
Well, this man, he doesn't really know what sort of drama is going on behind him. And you know what? In the back of his mind, Phil, he doesn't really care either, because he is ploughing his lonely furrow at the front end of the main field. He's itching to see that banner over the road, which shows him he's going under the King of the Mountains point, because after that, it's a 1.5 kilometers to the finish line, and it is oh so much easier.
Menchov here is being slowly but surely brought back to the fold by his arch rival, Samuel Sanchez, the Olympic champion. That's not a 13-second gap anymore.
Well, Sanchez is a champion, Phil. He won the Olympic Championships in Beijing in style, and here he's pulling himself back into this race slowly but surely. Menchov is panicking. Menchov is trying to see what he can do to get the advantage. Maybe not over Sanchez, but he's trying to claw his way back to Schleck and Contador. And still, the Frenchman at the front, he's really making a meal of this one. For France, it is a phenomenal win in the Pyrenees.
Boy, they can't do a thing wrong at the moment, the French, as they continue on now with Christophe Riblin on the French AG Tour Mondial team. It's a team that we've seen race around the world. They support all of the world's great races, and now they are winning the stage in the world's greatest race, the Tour de France. And this is Riblin, who's led just in the manner of Sastre in 2003. This is going to go down the finest victory in his career. He is 29 years of age, and France are flying it high on this opening day as we celebrate 100 years of the Pyrenees in the Tour. It's fitting a Frenchman brings us home. Christophe Riblin takes the line. What a terrific ride he's done today, and he'll still be nowhere in the overall tonight. And do you think he cares?
Not a bit, but Sammy Sanchez does. Look at that, he's caught up with Denny Menchov, and these guys will be riding for second and third place, and they will be narrowing their lead between themselves and Andy Schleck and Alberto Contador. But that was a great move for France, I have to say, this afternoon. This is the next group on the road. This is Jürgen van den Broek with Schleck and Alberto Contador.
Well, they've in-fought to such an extent. They've allowed the riders to go away. They've got themselves organised a bit, but they're giving just a bit of time today to Denis Menchov and Samuel Sanchez. Locked together, overall split by 13 seconds. They will still retain third and fourth tonight, just as they did at the start of the day. The silent assassin, though, is holding some great form, and Sanchez knows it now. So, Menchov takes third, and fourth will be Sanchez.
Well, that's a great ride by them. Here's the sprint now for Andy Schleck. He's going to have a little bit of pride here, and he's going to try and take himself fourth place ahead of Joachim Rodriguez, and he's bringing them up to the line. But what a staged victory there for the French. And there we've got Andy Schleck, who's done a great performance. Contador is going to ask himself some strange questions tonight about how can he win this Tour de France.
After all that, the only result of the Andy and Alberto two-step was that the men in third and fourth, Samuel Sanchez and Denis Menchov, had crept 14 seconds closer to the pair of them. More of a worry for the yellow jersey than the defending champion, you'd think, given their respective time trialling skills, but Andy Schleck disagreed.
No, not at all. I mean, I felt all the time good enough, you know, to close the gap, and you know, in the end, yeah, they're not right now. You know, a danger for me in the GC. You know, I got to consider it. You know, the next days, of course. But I think today, you know, I'm happy with the stage how it went, and I know, you know, it was a poker game today, but you know, that's. You know, tomorrow or the day after, I got to go all in, you know, and try, you know, if I can win.